Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Eye Opener Society Ministry. Welcome to our live Thursday night sermon. And tonight it's going to be fun. My name is Gary Dean. I'm the founding member of Eye Opener Society. We're going to be joined tonight by our co creator, Lizzie, our cosmic fairy princess. And then we have another special treat for you. We're also going to be joined by our newest minister, Halos Phoenix. And we're pretty excited about that because I really feel Halos always has something great to say. And she says it very beautifully. So I hope everybody stays tuned to everything and enjoy the sermon. Everything we do here is going to be inspiring, uplifting, and it matters to us that you, the audience, get involved. Don't forget, we do this every Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live, and then we put the recording up immediately. And then we're also going to try and work on tonight, getting you an after show as well. So, with all of that said, I was sitting trying to come up with something for tonight, and I had a few ideas, and I kind of scratched it off. And I don't like to continuously talk about the same thing, but in the past couple of weeks, what's been on my mind is the fact of life and how we are living it and how we are enjoying it. This is really important to me because as I've looked back on my life and my timeline, there's a lot of things I've gone through. And now I'm here in the moment that matters, which is the present moment. And it took a lot for me to get here. There's been so many changes along the way. What about yours? What's your changes? What have you done throughout your life? I'm very happy to say that I've enjoyed my life. There's definitely have been some pitfalls, things happen. But I will say that with everything that has happened in the past, it helped me to develop into the person that I am today, right now, right here in this moment. So I want to talk to you, the audience, everyone listening, that we are so thrilled to help you try and see things from a different way. I do apologize if I'm rambling again. I think Lizzie said she wrote hers down. I might have to start doing that myself. But here's the most important thing. Sometimes we have to sit with our emotions. We have to sit with the moment that we're in. We have to embrace it and we have to learn the lessons from it. What we need to do is not so much renew ourselves, but recycle ourselves. And here's a good example of that. Going back when I left New York City, and I was thrown down Southern Virginia, and it was kind of a culture shock to me. I was going through a phase in my life where I was constantly thinking about the past back in my high school days. I wanted to bring it back. And I always thought the present moment is what matters. Living in the past is not very good. And I was bringing myself almost to hyperventilation because I was so upset that those days were gone and over, and I was in this new environment. It took me a while, a few cycles to sit with that and finally learn and understand that that past was fantastic. I loved it. While it's great to say, hey, I want to go back to those days, I want to go back to that time, recycle and become renewed and rejuvenate everything that is in your present moment. I've had great friends back then, fantastic friends. We no longer communicate, but I renewed. I now have new friends, people whom I trust, wonderful friends. Recently, I made friends with Halos Phoenix, who you'll be meeting tonight. I definitely have a great friend with Lizzie. It means the world to me. Right now, listening live, my great friend Sarah. Wonderful, wonderful people. And that's how you renew. You might not have those old friends, but what matters now are the people that are around you right now. And the things I've done throughout my life, when I was with emergency medical services back in New York City, that type A personality that I have and the go getting and you know, that helped me to develop into who I am because I had to take that level of excitement and bring it down to where I am right now. I learned from it. I recycled myself. I recycled what I was into who I am right now. Everything that I've accomplished between work, personal things, goals, and dreams, everyone out there has something that you really want, dreams and desires. What I do not like is when people, and again, I hate repeating myself, I hate repeating the topics, but really, those of you who are putting that block in front of you, putting that big wall in front of you, just saying, oh, I can't do it, or life's too tough, or it requires money, or it requires this, that is repeating over and over in your mind, and you're manifesting the failure that is certain to come. You need to set your goals. You need to set yourself up so that you get to do and achieve what it is you want in your life. Now, today I was reminded of something that was told to me, and I'm sure everybody heard it. And even when there is the craziest storm going on and all of the clouds and how dark it is, that does not mean the sun is not there. We just can't see it in the present moment. But if you embrace that storm and you find the beauty in that storm, the way that feels, the negative ions taking over in the air, the freshness of that air, the feeling of that rain, the power of nature, you're starting to see things positive. Then the sun starts to come back out and you're still in that positive state. Nothing should put you down. Yes, we go through times of sadness, we go through times of despair. Bad things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people. It's a never ending cycle. It's how we sit with them, it's how we learn from them. That's what's going to make you achieve your goals and bring you to the point where you want to be. And it's important that we keep bettering ourselves, keep recycling ourselves. I don't care how old you are, how young you are. I don't care if you change your personality, change your clothes every single day and what you want to look like and how you want to be. It's in the moment that you're doing it is what really matters. Some people change careers after doing the same job for 35 years and then they change into something else. And then you sit and you have this realization, I just recycled myself. I now am the same person I was, but I just been remade into something because some people say, wow, maybe I should have done this job instead of the other one that I've been doing for the last 35 years. This will bring us happiness, achievements, goals. And that's what I want for everyone out there. I want you to start achieving your goals. I want everyone out there to see the silver linings in the clouds. I want everyone to remember that even when the clouds are out, doesn't mean the sun is not there. Now, I don't want to talk about the chemtrails that are hiding the sun and everything else. That's for a whole nother podcast, whole nother show. But everyone, please enjoy life. Keep smiling, even struggling through the tough times. Lean on the people that matter to you the most. My name is Gary Dean. I appreciate everybody joining us. I'm going to bring aboard our favorite, our cosmic fairy princess, Lizzie. Let's bring her in. All right, Lizzie, you have the spotlight. It's all you.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. I did write mine today, but no promise that I'm going to write mine next time. Sometimes it is just fun to kind of speak straight from the heart. But today I wanted to be a little bit more specific. I find that sometimes the most magical time for me is the time in which I can't write or explain myself. It's like my brain is a swirling pool of definitions, ideas, conspiracy theories, goals, new facts, old facts, added data of other people's perceptions, and the feelings that each of these leave in my body. If I attach to one, I'll make sense of it, but I find that sense made in this phase is never the most sensical in the long run. I used to define this feeling as writer's block, as still learning, and sometimes it is, but I'm also in a state of redefining something that I don't even yet know how to speak. And for me, I find it most beneficial to not rush this process, even when the time it takes ends up being inconvenient. The relationship that you have to words builds the experience around you. And how you define a word or concept is how it engages with you. And the difference in how two people relate to something can be the difference between a solution and a compromise. Next time you're triggered by a word someone you care about says, try Googling the definition together and see if you both were actually using the word in the same way, because often we aren't. When we're young, we have definitions kind of rapid fired at us, sometimes from the dictionary in school, and sometimes just from the people around us as they explain a mystery word that they came up in a movie or book. And who knows actually if they remembered that definition correctly, but you can still take it on and use that word forevermore in that way. As time goes on, our memory changes, and sometimes the definitions we have for a word evolves and blends with other words, and we don't even notice because apparently, when the right side of your brain, which is your checker, doesn't know something, your left side just makes it up, your storyteller. It'll look it up as a fact. But okay, so back to the relationship to the word itself. Healing, for example. If you define this as restoration to its original form, or is it the removal of damage? Is it the expansion of health? Is it the removal of discomfort or disease? Is it moving into an environment and conditions that sustains you? Discomfort, something to move away from, something to push through, something to allow, a message, a punishment, something to overcome, something to fix, an invitation to expand. What you define it as in that moment is what your energy system will orient around. Healing, as restoration of what is lost or broken, focuses around returning to what once was. Healing, as moving into an environment or condition that sustains or supports you, implies moving forward. The distinction is small, but it can be the difference between trying to reconnect to your inner child as a way to get back what was lost, or a way to gain what hasn't yet been picked up. One wraps reality around a wound, another wraps reality around a new idea. And these are completely different energy signatures and will produce entirely different results. And this is true only because I said so. Does this make sense yet? What's important is which is better in the moment for you. Knowing what you are actually trying to do can make it possible for you to do it. Sometimes it simply takes the time to really think out what you think, what you expect, and what you know, and maybe give space for those to change a little. Defining something before you gave it space to show you what it wants to be limits it by what you already, quote, know, not what you are learning. Sometimes we ask for these big life-changing quantum jumps, but then we refuse the redefinition it requires. The thing is if you thought like the version of you that you are aiming to become, you'd already be them and live that life. You'd already like do it, right? You wouldn't even be thinking about it. The action, the ideas, the world, all comes from how you defined it before you even built it. It shifts as you shift the relationship to it, but sometimes the entire thing needs to be rebuilt, and sometimes that requires you to take the time to swim in the possibility. It actually has no defined definition except the one that serves you best. So what's going to serve you best? Money is earned. Money is a form of resource and can be exchanged. Money is security. Money is one form of abundance. Money isn't real. Money is a frequency. Money is a result of my hard work. Money is a result of my access to abundance. Doesn't matter. Just how did it respond to your body? What did it make you feel? Something I have long been frustrated with is the way that I would have to circle back to the same topic, seemingly healing a new layer, which is accurate, but also what I was doing was redefining something as I had more information. I was rewriting the story. You know the story that is only factual because that is how the definitions in your soul experienced it. As I change the definition today and I change the quantum tied to the experience of the past and what flavor comes in from the future. And this will ripple out to redefine a lot of things in your life if you allow space for it to be everything nothingness for a minute. There's a song that I find a lot of hidden meaning in it. It's called Heaven's Gate by Amelia Farron, and I may slightly be obsessed with this song for the last little while. She says in it, one of the things is, I didn't realize nettle stung and apples weren't all white. And this made me pause because nettle is used for protection, which is something super important for every new witch or energetically minded person to learn as a very vital step moving forward in the world. But also, eventually, many people unfold to a place where the need to protect ends up feeling a little bit more like self sabotage than a necessary action. When safety becomes assumed instead of demanded, protection limits what comes in, and only good was coming in. So sometimes maybe nettles do sting. And apples are about healing and white being pure or whole. Apples aren't all white because not all wisdom brings wholeness to you, and only you know what is pure or whole for your soul. As a definition of changes of a word, an event, a person, an idea, a hope, the relation to it changes, the energy fueling it changes, the inspired action and the glimmered emotions change. What can be overwhelming can also be an abundance of options. What can be disappointing can actually be revealing or empowering. What hurts can be an invitation to move, or an invitation to let go, or an invitation to invite another into your understanding. What blocks can be an invitation to pause and redefine, can also be a redirection, and it can also be an Easter egg you were hoping to find. There's no perfect definition or set of rules to live by. There's just how you are defining something, how you are engaging with something, and if that is working for you or not. Back to comparing definitions on Google when you're in a moment of tension with a person, it can also be really helpful to ask questions that have a little less solid definitions. What does a good person look like? What does love feel like? What does trust taste like? What does space function like? What does rest mean to you? Professionalism, consideration, support? Like, write it down together, really, really ramble about it. You might be surprised how many, quote, shadows exist in your definitions, even though you already, quote, healed them. When you write faster than your spiritual ego can translate it, you may be surprised how many obvious solutions appear when you understand the rules the other person is operating under, when you understand the rules that you are operating under. Maybe the tension doesn't have to be a problem. Maybe it can be an awareness of where your definitions and rules are creating friction and how your realities are operating with each other. And usually you both hold important pieces to what the most wholesome, coherent, and enjoyable answer to the both of you is. It's rarely what was decided, it's what you decided it to be and how well they intermingle with all that's involved. When compromise means we both lose a little, you always lose. And when compromise means we both felt understood, supported, and got what we needed, you always win. Sometimes our definitions is the best we're going to come up with for now. It is what serves us best until it doesn't, until we know more. If you shame yourself for not, quote, getting it right the first time, then you just wrapped redefining things into shame. So there's a great place to start with your definitions. Redefine until your heart's content, like seriously, and swim in the void of everything nothingness until your heart's content. Like, god damn it, if your heart is not content, inspired, and overjoyed, redefine your definitions in life before you try rewriting your story or healing your past or moving forward or making new connections. Your words create your reality, but what they mean gives you the materials that you use. It sets your intentions, your expectations, it gives it shape, gives it function, it gives it life. Thank you for listening to me today.
Well, I got to tell you, I literally have chills from that one. Thank you so much, Lizzie. That was beautiful. And you gave me a new idea that I might start writing down my things because
Oh,
it really played out beautifully. Well, thank you
thank
again.
you.
So you're very welcome. We're going to put Lizzie back into the green room. And now I want to tell everybody that well, I don't know if I'm on camera. Uh, I want everybody to know that we have another minister. I know we've had Elaine on here, but we also have Halos Phoenix, and Halos I know is going to give us another wonderful, beautiful, chilling goosebump kind of sermon. I know I'm expecting a lot from her, but I'm not putting the pressure on her. I want everybody to welcome on board Halos Phoenix. Let's bring her in. And Halos, the spotlight is all on you.
Awesome. Thank you for having me here today. Okay. Yeah, you guys gave great sermons. It's very lovely to listen to. And today, what's been coming through for me is really, I think the last time that we had our podcast, we kind of talked about human emotions and um, like just giving respect to the darkness as beings of light that we typically associate with being in spirituality. And what I notice very often kind of goes along with what Gary, your sermon was about victim mentality. And it's interesting because I really think the darkness is meant to push us forward. It's meant to propel us into something better. And a lot of times, though, people get so stuck in it. I notice people talking about all the issues in the world, like, oh, there's this issue and there's this issue, and I can't be happy because these people over here are suffering and the government's lying to us and they're putting poison in our food. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's great that you're aware of that, but what are you doing with that information? Because continuing to focus on something isn't going to change it. There needs to be action in order to create that change. And so what came to me was the law of Dharma. And the law of Dharma is um, it is a Buddhist belief that when you are in alignment with your soul's purpose, you are acting in Dharma. And why it's so important is because when you are in alignment with your Dharma, then you are living the life that is going to create a positive change in the world. And what this means is that everyone comes here for a specific reason. And I think that the reason people are in victim mentality to begin with is because they're unaware of the power that we have. And everyone has a certain amount of power, not even a certain amount of power, limitless amounts of power, because we are connected to source. We are source. And um, in order to come to this action of living in Dharma, we have to realize that there are these four levels of consciousness. The first one, the lowest one, being victim mentality, which is saying, I can't do anything, everything's happening to me, and I have no power. And the one above that is when you feel like you have to control everything, when you won't allow help from others, when you feel like you have to override all this external assistance because you feel that you have to do it on your own. The one above that is co creation. So, when you are in co creation with the universe, which is what a lot of people talk about, it's a great thing, it's a beautiful thing. And we do need to be in co creation with the universe. But then the one above that, which is allowing the universe to happen through you. And so, you're not trying to necessarily create anything or do anything. You're in this simple state of being. You're in this state of being in alignment with your soul's purpose, with your Dharma, through coming to know yourself. And what that means is that you are taking the time every day, or maybe it's not every day, but you're just taking a significant amount of time to get to know yourself. And whether that's 5 minutes in the morning of meditation and simply tuning in with yourself and with your body, then you are able to move past these lower states of consciousness of feeling like things are happening to you or feeling like you have to control everything or do everything. And then you're coming to this heightened state of, oh, that's not who I am. And you can observe these thoughts from a different perspective and then reshape them to then help you create the reality that we're all here to create. Because, yes, there are so many things that are terrible in the world. But what we do about that is what's going to create the reality that needs to come into existence. And so, with that being said, um, I've just found it to be so important for me to um, just like really get to know myself. And I think it's funny because a couple years ago, I would not ever think that I am where I am. I'm in school for child development and wanting to help all these people. And I remember my therapist saying, "You should be a therapist." I was like, "That sounds terrible. I will never do that. I don't want to help people. Like, I can barely help myself." And now I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's what I want to do." And I really had to move past those layers of shame and victim mentality and coming into my true power and seeing that I can do what I want to do. And because I know myself, I know what I want to do. And it can be very difficult to know yourself when you're constantly being told who you are at a very young age. We're programmed to believe all of these things about ourselves that aren't true. So it's very important to come to know yourself and just spend time with yourself, observing your thoughts, get acquainted with self awareness, and just observing everything that you tell yourself that you are and realizing what you can let go of and then what you can bring in. Who are you really? And what change are you here to make? Okay, that is my sermon. Thank you so much for listening.
Halos, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That too was so beautiful. I love how you put those words together. Lizzie as well. I want to thank Halos. I want to thank Lizzie. And I certainly want to thank everybody that tuned in, watched us live. It's so amazing to see everybody. Don't forget, this is every Thursday night. Our ministry, Eye Opener Society, we bring you our words to try and help you along in life. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you again next Thursday.